Hello and welcome to another update video about Cardano. In this video we're going to take a look at the Cardano chart, also the Bitcoin chart, and we can see that Cardano is finally moving. Now a lot of the, let's call them larger cap cryptos, are finally moving. Starts to get really interesting. Bitcoin started to move up yesterday, even though it's not, in my view, out of the woods yet, so the correction officially cannot be called over. But it is moving above 63k, which is the first step, while Ethereum is moving further to new all-time highs, and Solana has made a new all-time high. Cardano has moved as well for over 4% finally, which is big for Cardano at the moment. It has done much more in the past, but we'll get to that. And XRP has finally woken up as well, and Polkadot obviously has done really well in the last few days anyway. So it seems to be going well for some of these larger cap cryptos. There's Avalanche, talked about it yesterday, talked about it needs to get above the $70, which it did. And yeah, it's getting really exciting. So let's start with Bitcoin first. Bitcoin has finally started to move up yesterday, but there was another consolidation yesterday, or slight sideways move, which could be a bull flag here. You can see that here. This is the 1 hour chart. As you might remember that Bitcoin hit my target level just very closely, very briefly here on the Bitstamp exchange. It didn't really on the Coinbase and Binance exchanges, but you know, the prices are very dynamic, and I wasn't sure if the correction was over. I still am not sure, but it looks like at the moment that could have been the C correction down here, and we are now moving up. We need, however, to get above that B, to really invalidate it. We have only been there very briefly again, so you can see how important and how important these resistance levels are. So in my view, to make it really much more probable to move up further, it is that we need to get above 63.7k. This is the top of that B wave here. From there, I think we will then make or move at least to new all-time highs, and then hopefully also make new all-time highs. It starts to look better for Bitcoin at the moment. We've been over the 20-day moving average now for a couple of days, and we've actually come down below it, but then we've moved up again for the majority of this period here. We've been above the 20-day moving average, and while Cardano is making new, Ethereum is making new all-time highs, I think Bitcoin potentially might now, if it gets above that 63.7k, will finally move up, and yeah, we will get very nice November and December. However, I talked about the risk also yesterday in the days before and the weeks before, that the indicators are very overheated. So you can never really say, okay, the correction is over. There will not be another retracement. It will be a bumpy ride. Even if we make new all-time highs, it will be a bumpy ride. But yeah, Ethereum is running to new all-time highs, and maybe Bitcoin will in the next few days and weeks as well. Now, this obviously had now finally also an impact on Cardano, which has made a move with nice volume, I must say, over the $2.03. Now, as you can see, $2.03 was one of the horizontal levels that I had on the chart, and actually exactly in the last hour that candle stopped below it, or just above it. I think it stopped below it. Well, we moved up all the way to the 20-day moving average, which is up here. So I did say in yesterday's video, we need to get above $2.10 for me to really, tell me that at least the chances of now moving up and that slow and boring correction down here is over. That $2.10 is really important, because that is also where yesterday, at least, the 20-day moving average was. Now we bounced off exactly that in the last hour, moved back below the 203 resistance level, and now we are above it again. Maybe retesting it, maybe checking, can we hold above that level? What we can see is that we had finally, and it's probably better to see that on another time frame, the volume is going up down here. We also on the hourly here had a buy signal. We're now overbought on the hourly because we moved up fairly quickly, and in the last few days we didn't really move at all, to be honest. But it's looking really good. That's finally what we've been waiting for. And I'll get to some more news after the ADA analysis. And as you also remember here, we came down from this ABCDE triangle, did come out of the other side, as I did say at the time, hit my target level of 180, and since then we've been moving sideways. So it was not really possible to tell what the next step is. We needed to wait for confirmation. What it did, however, and obviously that was while that was happening late yesterday. We moved out of that triangle here and then retested that as support, and now we are moving up. Yeah, so that was, in my view here, just a nearly descending triangle, but it was not really a horizontal support. It was more a, yeah, you could call it a symmetrical triangle, but it wasn't really, because it was not really symmetrical. So really hard to say. You never know with a triangle what the next step is. You can make guesses, estimations, but you can identify the trend lines, and if you see a breakout and then a retest, that makes it very possible that then a push happens, yeah, in this case to the upside. Now we're back below the 203 line. As you can see, the 203 line is very important, not only because it's been a horizontal support and resistance level in the past, not necessarily the $2 actually for Cardano, it's actually the $2.03. And what you can see here in the last few days, end of October, we've also been just below that level, couldn't really get above it. That's why I said yesterday the $2.10 level, which also takes us above the 20-day moving average. However, nice move. And let's take a look at ADA BTC, because that is getting interesting as well. You can see a big move here. What Cardano did from here from here in the last few hours. Nice volume, you can see that here. And also it moved up on the 31st of October already, similar like that. And we tried to get past that former low here, that resistance level, and we couldn't, and we can't do it now. But let's see if the volume continues to pick up. Let's see if this push gave us some attention. But as we speak, actually already losing momentum again. But still, you know, it's good to see that Cardano seems to be waking up. There are people investing. You see the volume, and to be honest, the news that are coming out, they're getting really good, and we get to that in a minute. What I also showed you in my previous video is here on the daily, the RSI. I would want us to break that RSI here to really say, look, this will be the final move here now to the upside, which is at the 50 level. To be honest, we already, yeah, which is at the 50 level. We need to get there. We are now currently sitting at 44. And you can see it in the past that oftentimes Cardano was either, that there was not much space in between. So either here on the daily, Cardano was over and above the 50-day moving average, which is when it made really nice price moves to the upside, or it was below the it was below the 50 line on the RSI, or above it. If it was below the 50-day RSI, it was just, yeah, basically moving down here, making making red moments. Yeah, so we're currently yeah, basically moving back to the 50 line, where we nearly came into the oversold range. We weren't quite there, moving back to the 50 line. And when we see a breakout here, which will probably take a while to get there, but for me that would be the confirmation. It's just a very objective way of telling, look, we're now out of the long sideways or downward move, because, you know, any triangle is subjective, any trend line is subjective, any way of interpreting the MACD and the RSI is subjective. But actually, if you look at the MACD and you can identify a trend line like that, a horizontal breakout point or line, that is a very objective way of yeah, basically measuring it. Now, before we finish the video, which is actually really good news that we had that nice pump here. However, we need to stay above 203 and then get to 210. But it, you know, it is nice to see it. Just want to talk about these news here about 3Air. Don't know if you've heard about it, but 3Air have partnered with K3 Telecom, which is a Swiss mobile phone provider or telecom provider, to bring, yeah, decentralization and the decentralized internet, just to bring internet connectivity to consumers in Africa. I find that very powerful again. So again, the problem we know about, you know, from the World Mobile Token and the partnership we talked about previously, but again, only 20% of the African continent are active internet users. So 60% of the remaining world are. So, you know, they talk about what is 3Air. 3Air is a startup company, startup blockchain company, but they work together with K3 Telecom. And with Cardano, they partner to bring internet to Africa. I find that very powerful, because there will be so much use. Yeah, there will be so much use for the Cardano blockchain. And what is K3? K3 is huge, K3 Telecom. So as you can see, this is K3 Telecom. So indirectly they partner with Cardano through Air3, and you can see the partners here. You know, Cisco, IBM, Eaton. I don't know some of these, but IBM, Cisco, and Eaton I certainly know, and they are huge. And yeah, K3 is a Swiss company. It's huge. It's very important. It's very good news. I talked about, you know, yesterday already. I talked about the news that are coming out currently about Cardano and partnerships and dApps coming up. So it is really huge, and more and more bullish news. I haven't had a period in the last few weeks and months where so many good news have come out about Cardano, about new partners, about new dApps that are in the making, and new you know, new pre-sales and so on. So it's getting really interesting. I think we're getting the attention back to Cardano, even though if we might see another drop, because at the moment we're not above 203 yet, we're not above 210 yet, but it is certainly the right step in the right direction. That was a nice green candle all the way up here. Very nice move to nearly $2.10. But again, here on the hourly we are now overbought. So again, a small retracement which is currently happening, unfortunately below the 203 line. We were not overbought on the 4 hour, but on the hourly, so a bit of retracement needs to happen now. And we'll see what the next hours give us. But at the moment, still, you could still call it a sideways move. However, with that latest move, I mean, if the 4 hour candle, for example, closes there, we could identify that now as a channel. Unfortunately, that looks a bit like a bear flag then, so we need to be careful. So that's why I say it's not certain yet where it's gonna be heading, but be aware that that could also be a bear flag, yeah. And I've talked about the possibility of further price drops, but at the moment we try to stay optimistic here, because we even try to get above the 210 level, yeah, with that 20-day moving average. So it's looking good, but yeah, there's always still the possibility that we drop once more. Just want to say that, but overall making higher lows here at the moment, which is really positive. All right, so hopefully you liked the video. I will keep you updated. If you did, please smash the like button, and yeah, see you in the next video. Bye bye.